Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Back to the TARDIS podcast, the podcast where we take a look at every single episode of the 2005 revival of BBC's Doctor Who. I'm Jeff.
Hello, I'm Aurora.
Hi, I don't know who I am, and I'm here.
And this week, we are discussing Series 7, Episode 10, Journey to the Center of the TARDIS by Stephen Thompson. And I don't know about you guys, but boy, if this isn't the first real genuine stinker we've had in a while.
It was bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
I feel like
You
at
said that was amazing. The way you said that was amazing.
I feel like this was our Love and Monsters, and that, like, okay, I could see what you did there, but holy fuck, did you not accomplish it?
Yeah. So, the whole purpose of this episode, obviously, is to be like your big "we're gonna go into the TARDIS" episode. And, you know, that's cool. I respect that. But Neil Gaiman did that better last year. And that wasn't even, like, he did that without even, like, doing the same level of, like, he didn't even, like, go that far into the inner machinations of the TARDIS, or, like, go quite as deep as this did. Although I'll comment that, like that episode, this episode also seemed to just be a lot of going up and down the same corridors. But yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, to me at least, what kills this episode isn't even the fact that it's like, you know, we're gonna go in and journey deeper into the TARDIS than ever before and all of that. Like, it's not even like any of that as much as it is the fact that, like, every single fucking character in this episode is unlikable. Even the Doctor.
Yeah.
There's also just a whole bunch of bells and whistles that don't need to be here, that just take up space. And this isn't a two-parter, as I think it should be.
Yeah.
Quite clearly, if you can make a two-parter out of a fucking, like, space station orbiting Satan, you can make a two-parter out of an infinite spaceship.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
like no, go ahead.
it's just weird. Like, genuinely.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I kept trying to think what it was like. Yeah, I think bells and whistles is a good way to put it. Like, you have the weird flamey blurry guys, and then it's like actually them, and that's kind of just a thing.
Yeah.
And then there's like the weird TARDIS tentacle bulb things, and that's kind of a whole thing for no reason. Like, that's basically just thrown in as a contrivance to make the thing more spooky, because otherwise the TARDIS was just like letting them find things, and then it had to like have a reason for things to go bad, and that just felt like extremely convoluted and just
yeah.
Also, someone wrote a book on the Time War, presumably the Doctor, because who the fuck else would have?
Yeah.
That also has his name, or it's implied to, except Clara won't remember that, so why have the C? It's a very confused episode.
Yeah. It's like, so yeah, like, as I mentioned, like, there's also, like, and I'm gonna come back to this, like, there's such weird, like, unlikability too. Like, the Doctor is weirdly, like he's displaying behavior that I think someone like 1 or 12 maybe could have pulled off, but it just feels like out of character coming from 11. And then you have like the other major characters who are these fucking like salvage dealer brothers who are like literally the worst fucking people ever.
Yep.
What
That's
was up
like
with
the
that
hard
fucking
part
twist?
with this episode is
Why was that there?
there's just there's nothing there with the brothers except like here is some extremely shitty people just so we have a reason to make
Just
this
the
go
worst
wrong.
people ever. Yeah.
Again, it's like the core concept is something we can get behind, right? Because it's like the Doctor needs help. He can't trust the help. He has to go into the TARDIS with people he doesn't trust that he normally would never let in there. Like, okay, cool premise. 11 has to like pull out some of his like chess master like 7 vibes. Cool. And then you just fuck it up the whole rest of the runtime.
Yeah, exactly. It's just ugh. So yeah, not to mention like like the whole thing, like this setup is kind of contrived. Like, I mean, okay, to be fair, there is levels of contrivance that I would excuse, and in fact, I'm probably not going to nitpick as much this week as I like had previously, because after the last episode that aired, which, by the way, the last episode that aired, I surprisingly liked. Like, it was probably like the best Chibnall like penned episode that the show's had.
We have not seen it.
To be like, it's pretty good, but like, and then like there's a scene, right, where like Dan is like running away from Sontarans and they're shooting at him and they all miss, and fucking JXE, whose previous video on Doctor Who I thought was pretty good, is on Twitter going like, nah, this episode sucks, guys. I can't believe these Sontarans, like these trained like military people, all missed Dan or whatever. And I'm just thinking, do you not understand how fucking fiction works? Like, no shit, they're not gonna hit him. That's how.
Yeah, that scene's kind of a wash for us. I was just like, oh, okay. Again, maybe if Chibnall's era was better, I'd actually care. But
yeah,
at this point, but yeah, no.
Well, I mean, like,
I think there's levels of contrivance we'll all accept. I mean, that's sort of like the whole idea of like suspension of disbelief.
The fact that they turn their shields down and just happen to get ganked by this salvage beam is dumb, but also it's how a plot's going to get set up. This is kind of just a silly sci-fi show for families, and at a certain point, you kind of just have to like let it go.
Yeah, I think they could have gotten captured. Or, in my view, it would have been better if we didn't know. Like, let's just start with the TARDIS crashed. We don't need the background of, like, oh, Clara needs to learn how to fly the TARDIS for some reason. And then there's a femoid joke. Not actually a femoid joke, but, like, yeah. And then the plot starts. It's just like, yeah. Again, it doesn't actually bother me, but it's a whole, like, it's like a list of things when there's already so many things that, like, are not going well. It just gets easier to notice the flaws, which I think is what happened this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. So yeah, like the Doctor like entices these guys in by being like, yeah, salvage of a lifetime, and then he fucking like locks the door and like is like, all right, I'm gonna have you guys help me find Clara and to incentivize you, I'm going to turn on the TARDIS self-destruct sequence, which is, again, that's really, I feel like that's out of character for 11. Then there's the fact that like he's really like, he is really I don't get why he needs them to help him, because it's not like they really split up at all that much.
Yeah.
Like they do, but like they mostly stick together. And then he turns the thing off and is like, nah, it was just like a ruse all along, so we could find Clara. And then the episode goes, oh shit, we still have 20 minutes left, and now it's exploding for real for no reason.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Just like that point in the episode makes no sense because it arrives at a natural conclusion. Well, not a natural because there is still the weird fiery guys, but it's just like, why did they write it like that? They could have written it like plenty of other, like, okay, just if they had gotten into the TARDIS and right then the Doctor saw that the TARDIS was going to blow up and then the TARDIS trapped them in there, then they would still have to search for Clara and like get the thing fixed, and they wouldn't have to like come back and then just have this weird midpoint where the story concludes but then doesn't.
I feel like this could have gone off so much better if they sort of pulled what eventually would be like a Heaven Sent, in that like there's no physical monster that's chasing them, there's no reveal or twist about what the monster is. It's just like the fact that the TARDIS is like slowly breaking down and is in this like state of duress just means that like because of the nature of the thing, it is warping reality and it's just defending itself, or at least it thinks it is. So like the arena becomes in a way the monster, or like a second character, basically. I feel like that it could have gone
like
off
that makes sense.
Also, like,
but no, we have to have like flame monster, scary Anakin Skywalker ass.
Like, I'm so
people.
fucking confused as to why it had to be written this specific way when it's like really not that hard to think of something better.
Also, just the part where they're in like the TARDIS engine, and then like the guys get fried, but they don't somehow, even though they're standing like 10 feet away.
Yeah.
But then also they walk somewhere else and then jump down, and now they're at the real engine. And I'm like, wasn't the start of the engine? Why is there another? Are these the same engine? And they just don't explain it. Like, did I miss something, or is that just like, did they just say that? I don't know.
It's so fucking odd. And then we get the reveal, right, of like, first off, these guys are already like, yeah, you guys are assholes, because they're all like fucking like, this dude, like, they're like, there's this one member of the crew that's like, yeah, he's an android, and they're all like shitty and hello? Did I cut out?
You dropped out. Yeah, hello? You dropped out for a minute there.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it's like they're all like really shitty to this like member of their team that's supposed to be an android. And then it fucking turns out that he was their brother all along, and then they made him a cyborg, but like they like erased his memory for funsies.
No, his memory was damaged. So he was put in charge by the dad, and then he got in an accident and his memory was damaged, and then they capitalized on that to make him think he was a cyborg.
Okay. Right. And the episode treats this as like shitty, but then it's like, what the fuck? It's like, it's such like, because these are essentially your fucking like your other, like your only other major characters for this episode, and they're just pieces of shit.
And they don't do anything with that, and there's no thematic or narrative reason that ties into why you would have that twist in the fucking first place.
Yeah, it's literally just there to make the characters worse. Like, they just like, what if we just had a character that really sucked? And it's just like, okay, but why? And then they just don't explain it.
Yeah, exactly.
It felt very like, it reminded us of fucking Star Wars, about how like it's just a common practice that you basically like mind rape droids regularly so they don't develop sentience, but no one like it's just a thing that's there and nothing is ever done with it. So it was just like, well, I guess you pulled that. Again, it's a very like if this was a two-parter and you started with that reveal maybe 15 minutes in because of insert plot reason here and then they actually like grow into something, like sure, do something with it. But the fact that it's just here to add a twist and doesn't add anything, you could debatably say it ties into Clara not knowing like that she's been multiple people and dies multiple times, but we don't even know the cause of that yet, so it might not even be memories. Yeah, I'm done ranting. It's just
and then
yeah.
it gets
so bad.
rolled back at the end, so it's just
Yeah. It's like it is like I'm gonna make a fucking comparison here. It's like Sonic 06, where it's so shitty it retcons itself out of existence.
Yeah, there's basically one not material consequence. That's fucking ignore me. There's one consequence to this episode, and it's at I believe the night of the Doctor, or one of the final episodes, where Clara remembers the conversation because the TARDIS is breaking down, and she's getting memories from like the past time stream. But like you could have had there be another reason why 11 and Clara had this conversation. I don't know why you would make them want to forget that conversation in the first place. It's just, yeah, again, just thing on top of thing about why this episode doesn't work, not just as a complete unit, but why it doesn't work in the overall series arc. It's like a fucking example of series 6 again.
Yeah. It's just so fucking baffling. Yeah. And it's like, I guess, I think I understand, like, I kind of think to an extent that trying to do a, like, we're gonna go deep inside the TARDIS episode, I feel like unless you are swinging around, like, Disney money, is a bad idea. Because it's never going to be as good as the potential in your head. Because you're dealing with literally a separate, infinite dimension. And the only way that they really are able to portray that on the TV is just like endless fucking like samey hallways, which all like endless samey hallways that remind me of the fucking TARDIS mod that someone made for Fallout New Vegas. That's like, it's pretty cool, but also trying to get anywhere in the TARDIS is a pain in the ass because there's like levels of like, you have to walk like a specific way, otherwise you just get like looped around in circles, and it's just like, this isn't actually entertaining. Basically, I think the TARDIS being infinite, I think it should have like a layout that like makes sense normally, and then when shit goes wrong, not only does it get weird in the hallway sense, it gets weird like the bits near the end of the episode where they like go out onto this cliff face and it just somehow like walks out onto this fucking cliff face. Like, that's cool. That's a cool visual. Or like when they end up in this like white void, it like the engine, like that's good. I like those scenes, but most of the rest of the episode is just the same featureless hallways because I feel like that's really all that they can accomplish on the budget that they have.
Yep, pretty much.
This needed some, as we said, sort of like heaven sent touches to spare up the environments. Because yeah, I completely agree. Kind of like what they did with the Silurian like dinosaur ship. There's like a beach on a spaceship. Because fuck you. Just like have you can make. I get you would want it to be like a contained episode. You'd want it to be like high stakes, high stress. But yeah, it's as you said, Geoff. Without Disney money, it would be hard to really accomplish something of that scale and make it like believable.
Yeah. And it's like you also get the fucking, like, they reset everything and then they go like they reset everything and then they try to be like, no, the Van Balen brothers remember some part of this subconsciously, so they're not going to treat this guy as shittily as they were treating him. And it's like, fuck off. Like, it just really goes to show how little this episode actually, like, feels like it cares about, like, anything, especially its characters.
I would have even been
It's
okay with
really
the
weird.
reset if, like... I would have been okay with the reset if people, like, remembered, at least. Like, if Clara and, like, if Clara had to, like, deal with the trauma of, like, dying but still being alive, and even that could tie into the fact that the Doctor keeps running into her.
Well, there's like a
You know,
little bit.
but-
It's like they kind of remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, the brother is like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be such an asshole to him. And then Clara's like, wow,
Yeah.
it sure feels like I've lived 2 days in one. Wink to camera, laugh track, fade out.
Seinfeld theme. I'm imagining like the introductory like the introductory like in the Doctor Who theme, but it's been like MIDI applied to the Seinfeld bass MIDI.
So true. Now you have to make a meme at the end of this episode when Clara says that line, and then just have it do the Seinfeld ending.
Yeah. Oh, that would be a lot. That would be a lot more effort than I feel like I have time to put in right now, but I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, we occasionally compare episodes of Doctor Who to Star Trek, but these feel like the ones where, and this happens multiple times, it feels like to like virtually every show where like something will go down and for some reason like no characters will remember, or like only Data will remember because he's an android, or like something like that. And
oh, I thought you were gonna talk about like the weird, baffling like episodes I've heard that Next Generation has, like the one with the fucking like candle ghost.
oh yeah, that like
the sex ghost
that like
episode.
fucked the Doctor's mother and then yeah. I mean, there's weird shit like that too, but I mean like mostly like there's so many disaster episodes where like there's the time loop mechanic or something's wonky with time and then everything's fixed, and like that pissed me off for like a show that happened years ago when like serialized storytelling wasn't that much of a thing. It was basically expected you would reset to the status quo every time. Here you're trying to do a story arc again, Stephen Moffat. After series
Did you
6,
learn nothing from last time?
how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Old man.
Yeah, it's just it sucks because as we said, we both, we're not professional writers, but I feel like there's at least some like ground level things that you can avoid, and one of them being the characters don't remember what they just went through, so why should the audience be invested at all?
Care.
Yeah. I feel like that's like pretty like that's like writing 101 shit.
Like, I feel like when you do something like that, where you essentially wrap this all back around and like, oh, it got retconned out or it didn't happen. No, okay, there is an exception here. Like, an exception of how like an episode does that and it works is like Turn Left. Because Turn Left erases itself at the end, but it works because it's essentially being a piece of speculative what if of like what would happen if we retraced the past 2 years of the show and removed the Doctor. And in that case it works. But like when you do it like this, it basically goes like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have even given a shit about this in the first place because none of it mattered.
Yeah, at least in Turn Left, even like what happened to Rose carries forward obviously to like the next episode, so there's some level of continuity. Here, what do we get? The Clara references the episode once in the finale where she's like, "Oh, I remember this again. Why do I remember this now?" And then we keep walking.
Yeah. And like that scene, you totally could have transplanted that scene into a completely different episode and it would have been fine.
It would have been
like
imagine a conversation like this in Crimson Horror.
Wait. Oh no. Oh.
You good?
What if the entire reason why this resets is because Moffat went, "Oh, Clara needs to not remember this conversation so she can remember it in the finale."
I mean, yeah, that's probably it.
That is so galaxy brain, I might actually believe it.
Honestly, that's what I thought it was when I watched it. I figured this like they can't have Clara remembering this shit because it like it's stuff she needs to figure out later.
But then, once again, we're back to Series 6 of Moffat doing whatever the fuck he wants to bend his arc into shape so all the beats that he wants can happen. And I'm not gonna lie, I've run a D&D campaign where I've tried to do that shit, but here's the thing. I'm like 20 years at least younger than Stephen Moffat was when he was writing this shit. B, it was cringe, and C, I fucking realized that it was cringe as hell.
And D, it's not your fucking job. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I could at least... If this was a conversation he wanted Clara to have, put it in Crimson Horror, where we encounter other characters who know a Clara, and, like, I don't know, do the classic, like, wires crossed thing, and Clara wonders why they think they know her. Like, I don't know. If you want to have her discover it before the finale at all, it's just... Yeah, but that just, like, blackpilled me on how the rest of this series arc is gonna go, because I don't remember much of it.
Yeah, it's not great. It really isn't that great, I'm not gonna lie.
Because what do we have after this? Is Nightmare in Silver directly after this, or is that after Crimson Horror?
No, we have Crimson Horror, so we get to go back to Fun Mark Gatiss land for a bit before we get slammed with like a pretty bad Cyberman episode and a finale that sucks.
At least Warwick Davis is in Nightmare in Silver.
At least Day of the Doctor is all right.
Yeah, true.
Day of these.
Yeah, I think we've kind of hit the
Day of Defeat Source, available now on Steam.
Thank you, babe. Yeah. It feels bad because we've been sort of in an upswing of quality, or at least like a happy medium. Is that what that word means? Fuck it. I'm an English major.
Yeah, sure. Close enough.
We have an English degree. I'm an authority. So yeah, so this sort of dip, it's understandable because again, we know that Stephen Moffat is also working on Sherlock at this time, which I'm sure is also suffering some quality dips. I haven't checked. Nobody bother correcting me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just we're back in the arena, folks.
We're back in the cringe. And, like, let that be said. Cringe culture is dead, but also this episode is pretty cringe. If you understand what I mean by that.
So, look, all people are created with cringe. Some people are just cringier than others. That's how it works.
Some people may be more based, and some people may be more cringe. Unfortunately for Doctor Who, we are living in an era of cringe. But not for long, for our based king will return.
So saith the prophecy. I feel like I'm in Dune right now. Shit.
Okay.
Can you tell we have absolutely nothing more to talk about this episode?
Yeah. Like, it's so, like last week was kind of just, it was okay, and I was really tired, and, and I didn't have much to say. This episode is genuinely, like, a nothing episode. Like, it has no purpose. It feels like somehow if an entire episode could be, like, 45 minutes, and the entire 45 minutes were just filler, it would be this episode.
This episode feels like an outline that, like, if someone went over it with a pass and just, I don't know, if there was just a second pair of eyes on it, or maybe even a third, because Moffat probably oversaw everything having to do with the Impossible Girl arc. Yeah, it feels half done, and I don't think I can say that for, like, any other script or story in Series 7, even the stuff that still had Amy and Rory in it, that at least felt finished, even if we didn't like it. This is just like, I don't know what the hell this is.
Womp womp.
Yeah. It's cringe, that's what it is. Yeah, alright. So yeah. That's about all I have for this week.
Ratings?
Yeah. Ooh, hold on. I just checked Twitter. There's a new Stephen Moffat interview with metro.co.uk. I'm going to take a quick look at that to see if there's anything Stephen Moffat might have to say about this fucking train wreck.
Imagine, just like, he knows, he's a fan of the podcast. He knew we were covering it this week. He decided to come out and publicly apologize for it just in time.
Well, let's see. He did say about the Weeping Angels, every time you bring back a Doctor Who monster, you should be slightly irreverent with it. You shouldn't stick to all the rules. You should break a few. It's the way it works. Otherwise, you're just erecting a monument to the past, and that doesn't work. Okay.
Wow, Star Wars should learn that. Sorry.
Okay, but, like, when I think about the Weeping Angels, okay, I guess Time of Angels is all right. Actually, okay. Well, okay, so here's the thing. I agree with the sentiment, but when you look at the way that he did it with the Weeping Angels specifically, it kind of sucked. I mean, I guess Time of Angels was all right. I think it still kind of has the problem of, like, it does change things up, but the way it changes things up kind of messes with the point of the Angels initially.
But Jeff, the Statue of Liberty, but an angel.
Eat my ass.
I can't remember if we said that was cool or not cool last time, but I've decided it's cool.
That was cringe. That was cringe for me.
I've decided it was cool. Fuck whatever we said last time, unless we said it was also cool last time, in which case good job past us.
Some are born cringe, some are forced to be cringe. They have cringeness thrust upon them, and those are the Weeping Angels in The Angels Take Manhattan.
I was born in the cringe. You merely adopted it.
Many people are saying this.
Oh my god, they're fucking asking him about if he's gonna come back to Sherlock. Why would you want him to come back to Sherlock?
Is Sherlock even...
That show crashed and burned so bad. Why would you think coming back and doing more of it would fix it?
Also, I'm pretty sure Benedict Cumberbatch is just coasting off of that Marvel money.
I mean, Doctor Strange is probably one of the few bits of the MCU I can still vibe with, so that's fair.
Oh, same. I'm just like,
that.
If you think you can afford him now.
Yeah. Well,
Doctor Strange, my balls.
Thank you for your contributions.
You're welcome.
Points were made. Friendships were broken.
Cringe.
I like how we've just
cringe
dropped any
compilation was
pretense. We've just dropped any pretense of continuing to talk about the episode.
It's our bi-weekly.
Yeah.
It's our bi-weekly
this
news segment.
This episode sucks balls. D for D's nuts. Who's next?
Yeah. Just, we don't even have the energy to do a summation. We'll give it a strong 4. As in, you should forget this episode.
I'm gonna give
just
this...
like they did.
I'm gonna give this episode a strong 69 out of 420.
All right. So next week we will be discussing the Crimson Horror. I'm looking forward to that. That episode's pretty solid. It's a sure fuck of a lot better than this episode, that's for sure. Until then, you can follow the podcast on Twitter at B2TARDISPod. You can support us on Patreon for a number of benefits, such as early access to episodes, the ability to listen in live to episodes being recorded, and potentially even the ability to guest star on an episode of your choosing. I'm Jeff. You can follow me on Twitter at WheatleyDL.
I'm Aurora. You can see us post cringe at Of Mice and Femmes on the Twitter.com.
You will never discover me.
And we'll see you all next week.